What does being open source even mean? Today we're diving into a fundamental aspect of Trezor's technology, open source development. What does it actually mean? Why is it so important? If you watch this video start to finish, you'll have a much better understanding about what open source means and why it's essential for your security. You should also have a better idea of why most tech companies avoid an open source model, because there aren't many of them operating this way. Let's start with what it means for something to be open source. In simple terms, open source means something that is both publicly accessible and modifiable. To make this easy to understand, let's use a fast food chain as a metaphor. Imagine a fast food restaurant was to go open source. Here's what that would mean. Number one, the restaurant would now be sharing its recipes publicly, which would allow chefs and food enthusiasts alike to see exactly how the food is made, and then either replicate or modify it. There would no longer be secret ingredients, such as herbs and spices in chicken, or unknown flavor ratios in soda. Number two, by opening up its recipes and cooking techniques, the chain could invite the community to innovate. Customers might create and share their own versions of the dishes, leading to a more collaborative culinary experience. Number three, open sourcing nutritional data would encourage healthier choices. Customers would have access to detailed information about what goes into their meals, empowering them to make informed decisions about their diets. Number four, an open source approach would allow for continuous feedback from customers and chefs alike. The restaurant could quickly adapt its menu based on feedback, ensuring that it meets customer preferences and dietary trends. In essence, an open source model fosters transparency, community engagement, and innovation, while encouraging feedback and adaptation based on the information shared. But the thing about open source is, most companies don't do it. Think about the phone you own, or a computer, or pretty much all video games. Is their code publicly available? Are the mechanics of how a piece of software works open to anyone? Almost always, the answer is no. Most companies keep the information about how their products are made a secret. This is also known as being closed source, which you could probably guess. And this is part of what makes open source technology such a big deal. Closed source might sound reasonable at first. It's perfectly understandable that a company might want to protect their patents or inventions. In practice, however, it's often bundled together with things that are bad for you, the user, the person who's actually using the product. Let's say you choose to buy into a closed source company's ecosystem. For example, you start with a phone, and then a laptop, maybe a smartwatch. You have no idea if the devices you're using have flaws or vulnerabilities in their code. It could be completely hidden from the public that your private information is hackable due to a security issue. And this is a standard we sort of just come to accept. You might buy an entire line of products from a company, only to run into problems later on down the line you weren't aware of. If you've already committed to several purchases from a company, and it would cost you hundreds of dollars or more to switch brands, and there are millions of other people just like you, then what stops a company from artificially introducing things that are bad for you in order to make money?
Have you ever had a laptop that for some reason you couldn't change the battery on, but a branded professional could? Have you ever seen a game console that only accepted memory cards from its manufacturer? Has your phone ever had simple compatibility issues with phones or computers from other brands? Just because.
What's more than this is that a company doesn't have to rely on people being blocked out by cost. You might have noticed these days that it can sometimes be very difficult to move data from one phone to another, or any two electronic devices with different brands. Your pictures, accounts, information, applications. Closed source systems prevent the public from being able to analyze and identify the reasons for such roadblocks. You won't know why these things happen. They're just a reality of the world you live in. Open source systems allow us to see how and why these things are happening, and build potential solutions to solve such problems. We've been open source since day one, which is why we often proclaim it proudly, because not a lot of companies are. At Trezor, all of our code is publicly available for scrutiny or collaboration. Check it out here on GitHub. It's freely available for anyone to expect, though if you're not a programmer, it might not make a lot of sense to you. Our open source code is frequently audited by developers, and we have a bug bounty program to help keep Trezor's software secure, links to which are in the description below. There are a number of core tenets that we keep as the foundation of our company, and definitely our products, in order to serve our open source standards. The first is transparency. Take our hardware wallets as an example. The software used in Trezor devices has always been open source in order to be fully auditable. Anybody can look at the code used in Trezor devices and verify its integrity or come up with improvements and integrations. Information. Every new feature, every security update, everything is documented and published in our GitHub repository. Our commitment to open source development allows you, our users, to follow along and stay informed about the changes that affect your device. Innovation. Open source also means we're not afraid to embrace innovation and experimentation. We're open to new ideas and approaches, and believe that this approach can lead to groundbreaking discoveries and advancements in our technology. Proof. Like we say, don't trust, verify. While we both recognize and appreciate trust from our community, being open source allows us to provide proof of our claims rather than having to rely on trust or something like our reputation. And don't get me wrong, we love having a good reputation. What this means is that you're not just a user. You're a part of a larger, accessible ecosystem. Your feedback and contributions directly help shape the future of Trezor and the crypto industry as a whole. Together, we're able to enhance security and functionality. This also means that if Trezor stopped existing tomorrow, there's nothing to worry about for our users. Since our code is publicly available, not only would you continue to be able to have access to your crypto, which exists perpetually on the blockchain, but developers from around the world will be able to maintain it and continue adding functionalities, keeping Trezor's purpose established and ongoing. If you have any other questions about being open source or how it works, throw it into the comment section. We monitor all of our social media accounts regularly and love seeing what the community has to say. Check out our other recent videos to learn more about Trezor and the world of crypto.